Well, that's what I was hoping for. And I mean, it is a little curlier, but it's also very dry and frizzy. I
Mhm.
I don't think you met her. There was a girl at the summit who she and her husband were walking around. They live on the east coast of or the west coast of Florida. And her husband and Tyler talked because he's got a really full beard and anyway, she makes tallow shampoo and soap. And so I texted her
Oh,
this morning and said, "Hey, can you are you selling your stuff yet?" So she's not. So we're going to trade. I'm going to send her some body butter and she's going to send
oh,
me
cool.
some shampoo and soap because I am so, after watching that thing that you sent me, I feel like I've seen it before too. It was very deja vu the whole time I was listening to it. So I think I've watched
Mm,
it years ago, but after watching that again, and then just, I'm grateful I don't put dark color in my hair anymore, but still I'm bleaching my hair and it just dries it out so much. I want to try her shampoo because I was looking for clean shampoos this morning and there's really not anything out there on the market. So,
yeah, it's not easy to find. I found another app, um, and I think I heard about it through my functional nutrition lifestyle practitioner, our alumni group. We have a business mastermind call every Thursday for like an hour, and there's so many bombs dropped in there of information that it's just crazy. But I believe they mentioned this app, and it's Yuka, Yuka.
I had that on my phone before. Another friend of mine had told me about it a long time ago, but I never used it.
Yeah, so
Really do an app
I
cleaning.
know. Well, yeah, I started going around and looking at my different products with it. I'm like, because you can just scan the barcode, which you can do, I think, with EWG also. But um, so, yeah, I was just like, wow. Because even some of the things I thought were cleaner or not. Um, and yeah, so it's just, and I don't know also if they have reformulated since I first, looked at them. So yeah, so I mean, it's just the fact that they can do whatever they want and they're not governed
Hopefully
to a
not much
box.
longer.
I hope not. I mean, because it's just a whole nother area. Um,
Yeah.
we know about the foods and it's horrifying enough, but this is like totally unregulated, and the FDA, which we're not fans of, can't do anything about it either.
Yeah.
So they have no jurisdiction over these people. And what was it? 1938 is when the first two-page little letter was written about what they can do and not do. It hasn't evolved.
1938. Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I'm signing up for this website.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, think about all the chemicals that have been brought forward, and it really wasn't talking about chemicals at that point because there weren't any per se. So, yeah. I'm on the search for new shampoo also and conditioner. So if you like that one, let me know.
Oh, I will.
Um,
I certainly will.
Because yeah, I mean, I've done different oils in my hair, like coconut oil and stuff like that, and it's very. I mean, it works fine. It works great. It is actually makes your hair very soft and shiny, and you don't need to do really anything else, with it. So,
I actually will wait. Like this yesterday was the first time I'd washed my hair in 10 days.
oh wow, see, I can't go that long.
It
Yeah.
was so I've recently done 2 weeks, and a lot of it just has to do with two things really. It's so thick and such a pain in the butt to style that when I wash it, I either let this happen or it takes me an hour and a half to do my hair by the time I dry it and then
Mm-hmm.
straighten it. And again, all the heat, or um, I and so those are the two things. It's so thick. Oh, and I don't want to wash the color out because it's a demi-permanent color on my roots. And
Mm-hmm.
when I wash it, it does wash out a little bit. So there's
Okay.
two
Yeah.
reasons.
Sure. Yeah. I guess
Um,
that's one thing I'm grateful for, that I never got into to coloring my hair or doing anything with it. It's just, it is what it is. And I was blessed because my mother never had gray hair. I do have some. It springs up every once, I got little bits here and there. But my dad now on the other side was totally gray white,
I'm white.
and he was blonde.
I did see a really young girl at church a couple of weeks ago walking around with white hair, and I was like, should I?
Mm.
Tyler would love it if I did. The problem is I have an aging face, so if I went white, I feel like I would look a lot older than I am.
I think that's the perception, and I think that there's been a lot of, because I've seen some just gorgeous, beautiful woman with white gray hair, and I'm like, wow, because I think we've had the perception always that that means old, right?
Of
And I
course.
know people that have, right? I know people that have gone gray white in their 30s, and
Oh, my
you
daughter
know,
has so many gray hairs and she's not 30 yet. She's going to be just like me. I mean,
wow.
patches of gray.
Mm. And it's some of it they say is related to stress, which I think is interesting. That stress can actually create that.
They also say that carnivore reverses color graying hair.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of different things that can help with that
Mhm.
as well. So I don't know. So, but
Oh,
yeah, it's just I mean, it's kind of like the food industry where there's 10,000 chemicals that are allowed in our food, which is horrifying that the European Union doesn't allow, but like 400 of those same chemicals. But then we've got the cosmetic industry that allows 1,200, here in the U.S.
yeah.
And they, I'm sorry, we allow. I'm sorry, Europe bans 12,000,
Yeah.
right? 1,200,
Yes.
1,200 chemicals. We allow 11,
We allow
and
all
I
of
think,
them.
yeah, there's 11 that we don't allow, right?
Right.
And I think they get around that too. And then I think it was Canada allows 200. So I don't know. It's just, yeah. RFK Jr., please come quickly to this area also.
I know.
and I think it was interesting too, because I know that and I'm going to mention the name because they've done some good work. Beauty Counter is out there and they're trying to get legislation done. And they are on the Capitol steps all the time trying to do that. And I appreciate that. And I've used a lot of their products and I still have some left. And I scanned some of them and they were not so good either. So
Yeah. And that's the way it is with
they,
all of them.
yeah, I mean, I think that some of them don't know what to do with, to make their products, I
Well,
guess.
I think in order to,
I don't
and
know.
here's the problem, in order to compete in today's market, these companies start cutting
Yeah.
corners. They move away and they do it gradually. I believe that they do it reluctantly and gradually, and they start adding little tiny chemicals into their products for better shelf stability, to make it less expensive, whatever the case may be, because they want to hit that broader market and compete with L'Oreal and Estee Lauder and these huge makeup lines. And I get it. But at the same time, there is a large enough group of us. And so if money becomes the driving factor for why these people want to be in business, it's always going to end up that way. They're always going to go the cheaper, more toxic route.
Yeah.
If true health and wellness and beauty counter lobbying is great, but if they're putting toxins in their products now to compete, they're really, I mean, what are they lobbying?
Yeah. Well, they're lobbying for a lot of different things and trying to get that list down. There's 40, they have a list of, I think, 40 never chemicals that they never put in their products. And that's great. Which is more than I think a lot of them do. Right. So, but yeah, it's just, I mean, some of the loopholes, like they discussed in that film, what was it? Pretty Toxic is the name of the documentary we both watched, and we were just like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's a reminder. A lot of it, I think, was a reminder to us. But then I think, for me, some of those stories were just horrific with children, losing their hair after using
So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I used that When shampoo back in my 20s when it first came out, and it was all the rage. And I heard that I did not realize that it was that damaging. I had heard that there were lawsuits against them, but that's just insane to me. That
it is insane that it's still allowed on the shelves. And I mean, this little girl who used, I think they used it twice, the conditioner twice, and she lost her hair. And it's like, what was she, 9 years old? And even at like, I think 15 or 16 or whatever she was, there were patches on her head that would not grow back.
Right.
I mean, and there's no repercussions. I mean, I don't know. Did they? I don't think they said whether, I
don't think they did say if there was a lawsuit that was finalized in that or not. What happened? I mean, I don't know how many people have been affected by Wynn's products either. They didn't really say, but the documentary,
they said a lot. There was like 14,
so there was probably
22,000 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot. It was a lot of people, and they were horrified that it's still allowed on like TV commercials with infomercial, things. So,
well, I mean, if you look at other big brands, like I mentioned, L'Oreal, they've had class action lawsuits against them. Like, if there's enough money behind it, they fight and not necessarily beat the lawsuits, but they find loopholes. What was I going to say? That's part of the reason that I started ReBirth. I mean, the whole reason I started it was because I wanted clean products to put on our skin. I am, holistic in so many ways. And I was so sick of buying watered down, clean lotions in the natural store to try and get something healthy on our skin, because we lived in a colder climate. And like even now in California, as the temperatures start to cool, our skin's drying out. Part of that is I need to drink more water. But if you look at my website, I literally talk about how the part of the mission behind ReBirth is to go back to God's ingredients. We talk about it with food all the time. We're supposed to eat God's food. We're also supposed to use God's ingredients. These synthetic chemicals that are endocrine disruptors that cause cancer, that create so many disruptions in our bodies, they weren't given to us by God. Yes, the brains that made them are given to us by God, but the toxins are not given to us by God. And I think that when they're tested and they're proven to be effective, everybody gets so excited, but they don't look and wait to see what could be the ramifications, especially when you combine the number of synthetic ingredients in one product. So today I was researching soaps or shampoos, because the shampoo that I use is relatively clean in terms of it doesn't have the parabens and the phthalates and some of the other toxic chemicals in it, but it does have fragrance, and it is so strong. And I don't have time or energy to learn how to make soap and shampoo. So I've reached out to someone who does tallow based shampoo to try hers, but it breaks my heart. It literally just breaks my heart how hard it is to find something that will not create chaos in the body.
Yeah, and it is. And I think another thing that I heard in that documentary about the fragrance, which was like, what, was that there's a difference between, fragrance free and No, no
There's a difference
fragrance?
between fragrance free and, oh, what was the word she used? Unscented.
Unscented, that's right. And that, so fragrance free, unscented, they can basically, it can be scented and they use chemicals to remove the scent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, great. Because, I mean, one of the things that I did, I used that Yuka. It's Yuka. It's another app that you can get, and you just scan barcodes of your products and you can take a look at it and see. It gives you percentages of how good they are. So that's kind of cool too. And then you can dig in and see why. But so I use Castile soap. I use Bronner's in particular. And I like the almond one. It is fragrance. So I thought maybe it was something, more, but it wasn't bad, but it was still, it wasn't 100%. So I went over to, well, let me look at the unscented one, the baby one. It was 100%. It was fine. So I'm like, okay. And so maybe that is what I use. And I will scent mine with essential oils if I want it scented, so I will go to that. But I think it's the, because you were talking about in one product having all of these things. And the problem is, and they mentioned this, and I'm not sure that they said that it's changed since that study. Women use like 12 products a day and men 6. So you're getting these same things from all the different products. So you're getting bombarded on all sides. This product may be bad enough, but now you've got this one over here that's also got it in it. And it's like, holy.
What a perfect place to pause and for you to listen to me tell you about the Christian Women's Health Collective. We have a health collective that is a membership group. It is for ladies only. So if you're a gentleman listening to this podcast, I'm sorry you're not invited. But for you ladies, we would love to have you join us. What you get in the membership group is early access to all of our podcasts. Plus, you get additional podcasts that we don't publish. You also get access to recipes and challenges that we've done in the past and anything coming up in the future, which we do. Most of our challenges in the fall and winter. We also have all of us have individual specialities. For instance, I am a brain health coach. I am an Alzheimer's prevention specialist. I am a keto and carnivore coach. I've taken supplement coaching courses and gotten a certification in that. So that's where I put my focus into nutrition and health and wellness. Sheri is a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner, and she is fabulous with things like hormone balance and inflammation and reading blood work and all kinds of really cool things. And so we put lots of information in there around those specialities. Then we have Brianne, who does, she's a fasting coach, but she doesn't just talk to you about fasting from a health perspective, which obviously we need to be doing, but she talks about fasting from a biblical perspective, which is something that most people don't think about, and except for holidays. So Brianne is a phenomenal resource for understanding the health benefits of fasting as well as the biblical benefits of fasting. And then Julie is our grief coach. So if you have suffered through anything terribly traumatic in your life and you are dealing with some grief that you can't let go of, that's what Julie does. She actually hosts retreats around the country, and she is just growing like crazy with her grief coaching. But then on the other side of that, she's also a kidney disease survivor. So she is a kidney disease health coach as well. So we have such a phenomenal level of expertise in our group, and there's tons of valuable information. There are opt-in downloadables that are free. You are missing out if you're not in that group. And let me tell you this, it's $7 a month. That is it, $7 a month. And if you want a little bit of a break, it's $70 a year. So if you get an annual subscription, you save 2 months or you get 2 months for free. So you have nothing to lose and you're not tied to it. So if you decide you don't want it, you can back out. I would encourage you, if you're not sure, that you do a monthly subscription so you're not stuck paying the $70, but you'll want to pay it. We're awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to my commercial, and now back to our program.
Holy cow. And one of the products they were talking about, I can't think of which one, and you might remember, about oh God, what was it? they were using formaldehyde in it.
Oh yeah, it's the Brazilian blowout. I used to get them.
The Brazilian blowout. So which is apparently, I guess a lot of people, I don't know what that is, but
They're
apparently a
still
lot of
around,
people
but
have used it.
my current hairstylist is trying to get me to do a keratin treatment, which is a little different from a Brazilian blowout. But yeah, I used to do
Okay.
Brazilian
Yeah, but
blowout
it's,
all the time 15 years ago.
so they were told to change their marketing on their packaging because it said it was formaldehyde free.
Yep.
Okay. But, and I'm like, how do they do this? And how can they get away with this except for their evil? That's the only thing I can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
It had more formaldehyde in it than they use for embalming a person.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. And people are putting that on their hair, and it's going into their skin, and it's going into their bodies. And we know that it causes cancer.
Yep. Yep. So that actually, I found that out when I was doing the blowouts back in the early 2000s, which was part of the reason why I quit doing them, because so my understanding, and I'm not 100% sure on this, so if somebody knows, let us know. But my understanding was it was during the blowout process. So they would put all they would do all the shampooing, but during the blowout process, the steam that released from the blowout was converted into formaldehyde. I think that's how the formaldehyde exposure came to be. It wasn't that it sat on your head. It was part of the chemical processing with the heat and whatever was on your head that converted it.
And you're breathing that in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's going in through your skin,
whoever's doing the blowout, they're literally right on top of it. So,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh. And then the one gal was saying, oh, well, show your customers that it's a safe product. Use it yourself, and it's like, oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So, you were talking about so many of the chemicals are endocrine disruptors. And, they were taught, the one lady who was the person that made this documentary was talking about, how her health had declined. And that she ended up with Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid issue. And Hashimoto's has gone off the charts. So many people have Hashimoto's now. They have thyroid issues. I wonder why. I mean, it really makes you wonder, why do we have all of this? 50 years ago, we did not have this. So what has changed?
Yep. Yep. Well, so here's a little bit of a segue. It's not just in the chemicals that we're putting on our skin in terms of skincare products and hair care products. Yesterday, a friend of mine sent me an ad that she found on Instagram for toxin-free clothes. So apparently about a year ago, article after article after article, Forbes magazine, CNN, Newsweek, all these papers and all these news sources started releasing articles about high-end athletic clothing lines, Nike, Lululemon, Athletica. I mean, just line after line that had been tested for BPAs and BPS. BPS? Is it the other one BPS? BP something. Regardless, PUFAs, these clothes are riddled with toxic microplastics. I mean, riddled with them. And why is that a big deal? Well, anything synthetic that's on your skin, if you start sweating, those microplastics will go in through the sweat pores, the sweat glands, because they're opened for the sweat to come out. And so when we think about why we are so sick, and you think about the clothes that you wear I'm wearing a pair of pants right now that are synthetic. When you think about the clothes that you wear on a daily basis, especially if you're active and athletic and you're tired all the time and you think you've got adrenal fatigue, where the diagnosis of all these different ailments, like you just said, weren't around 50 years ago.
Yeah, we're being bombarded from every different direction. But yeah, I have heard all of that with, the plastics. I mean, it's very hard to find anything that doesn't have that. And I mean, even if you go, I mean, you can go to organic cotton, but my thoughts on that are, okay, I bought organic cotton and that's really good the first time I wore it, but then I washed it. And what's going to come in with washing it? Because I don't know about you. Do you filter all your water that goes into your washing machine?
No.
Probably not. I mean, I don't.
Vinegar, but we don't
I'd
filter.
love to. No. So I'm like, well, now that's actually lost its appeal to me. So that's, I mean, why, it's like, why spend the money on it? For the one time that you wore it, and yeah. So I was quickly looking up something, because in the Bible, it actually, in Deuteronomy 22, it talks about, thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together. So wool and linen are actually what the Bible suggests that we wear. Interesting. But don't put them together. So I think that's interesting also. But, do we not perhaps need to get back to wool and linen and get away from these other, and it's not going to be easy to find those products that are just that. It's not like you can go to the store and have a big, supply of, to be able to look at all of these different things and be able to buy them. So I don't know,
Well, and just like food, if it's good for you, it's 3 times the price.
Oh, no doubt.
So we bought my husband a few linen shirts because he loves the feel of linen on his body. And they were, $30 or $40 a piece. And this was a few years ago, but they're expensive, like really expensive, because you can only get that kind of clothing at a high quality store. You'll never find it at Target or Walmart or Macy's. It's just insane.
Yeah. That is insane. I don't know, it's just one more area that we need to try to do better in if we can, because it's your sheets too. Take a look at your sheets. You're sleeping in them for 8 hours. You're in bed, a third of your life. So, I mean, it's all the things. We're surrounded with it, but on the other side of that, I don't want to be like doom and gloom. We do the best we can. Yeah. We try to bring in less toxins. And I mean, and that's the whole thing, is like, we're putting these things on our skin, and our skin is the biggest, our biggest organ, and it will absorb it, but it also is our biggest detoxifier. So we need to, take care of our skin and not put crap on it, so that it can do its job. Because if you keep putting stuff on it that's not good for it, then you're just adding to all the toxin soup that is already, we're probably already accumulating in our body. So the less toxins you can bring in is really the best thing that you can do, to help you food wise, air wise. I mean, you get a filter for your air in your house. There's just so many different things that we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to a lady the other day who was telling me that her favorite body butter is the mango body butter from the Body Shop, right? So I go onto the Body Shop's website and I look at the mango body butter. And if you just go to the website and you look at the main page and the ingredients, it lists literally 3 ingredients. But then you click on see all ingredients, and it's this little tab under the ingredients list that says see all ingredients. And then you go look at all the ingredients, and there are tons of synthetic and fragrance ingredients in there. And I'm just like, I mean, you can't get them for false advertising because they do have it there, but they make it look like it's healthy and clean. And then, you go expand the menu, and there's so many bad ingredients in it. And I used to do, back in, this is many years ago, I haven't had a soda. I can't tell you how long it's been since I've had a soda, but many years ago, I used to drink Coke. Like, I'm from the South, and Coke is what you drink. And I started drinking the Diet Coke, I think it was. And then I started drinking healthier versions of Coke. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't Zevia. That wasn't even around at the time. Um, but regardless, one of the ingredients in many sodas is sodium benzoate. And I noticed every time I would have one of these drinks, I would get really, really bad breast pain, like just achy boobs,
Oh, wow.
like you're PMSing, but it would not be that time of the month. And so I stopped drinking the sodas and got away from it. And then I would have whatever later on and I would look at the ingredients because my boobs would start hurting and there would be sodium benzoate. So now when I look at things for your skin and for your hair, so many of those products carry sodium benzoate in them. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you just cannot get away from this stuff unless you really do your homework and try. It's like you
Yeah.
said.
And it's like, yeah, we have to. And I think it's not like, go in your cupboard and throw everything out.
Yeah.
Use it up. And as you use it up, replace it with something better. Find something better. Because that has actually been my journey when I started 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
It was just keep, and as I've learned recently, you're going to have to keep looking at it because there are no controls over these companies. So they do what they want to do. They may have somebody that's not so good come in.
Yeah.
And that's just another thing that we can talk about too. But it's just the people that lead the different companies, they don't have our best interest always. So you have to take a look. And who's buying these companies? The company may start out as a healthy company. It may have good ingredients, and then they're bought.
Yeah.
They have big companies. And I mean, they offer $1 billion, and it's hard to say no when you're in that position of you've got something that somebody finds that it's worth that much. And
yeah, it's just like Siete, right? We were all so excited about Siete chips. They just sold about a month ago. I can't remember which big brand bought them, but they just sold about a month ago, and everybody was so angry at the family for selling. So basically, if you're not familiar with how that kind of a purchase goes, usually in the contracts, what happens is whoever is the founder of the company will stay on as a consultant for 3 to 5 years under contract, and nothing will change. So you've still got maybe 3 to 5 years of Siete chips having the same formula, but I guarantee you, whenever that CEO, whenever that contract runs out between him and the owner, it could be less, who knows? That's when those ingredients will start to change, because that's how that works. They're going to go with what they know is going to bring them a higher profit. That's why these big companies are buying up all of these well-known, healthier products. But even Primal Kitchen got bought out years ago, and they were so clean. But as you start looking at their website, some of their less popular items now have fillers in them, and they're starting to get less and less quality. So
yeah. And I've still been buying them, so I have to take a look at
the
ones that I'm buying to see have they. I think there's a little bit more control on the labeling in food, but I mean, they still like we found with. I know we weren't intending to go toward food, but goes for health products. But it's like the natural flavors. Yeah, like we found in the different products also, and what they can put in there.
Yeah,
it's concerning.
It is concerning. It is, and there's just too many loopholes to know for sure. But again, I mean, like Sheri said, it's really about, number one, you being aware, and number two, you choosing to make better choices over time, because it could be, I mean, it cost you a fortune to throw out everything in your pantry and everything in your makeup cabinet to start new, but, just do the research. If you're feeling sluggish and you're struggling with sleep and you need energy, odds are a lot of it has to do with what's going in and on your body.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it matters. It matters. I mean, it's, I've heard the quote, what you put on your body should be something that you could eat.
Yeah.
So think about that, when you're looking at it, like the tallow butter that Leigh Ann puts in her body butters. It's predominantly tallow butter. It's like almost 100%. I think it's just the essential oils that are added to it. So
yeah, I mean,
it's very clean.
It's not just tallow. There's tallow. I mean, it is predominantly tallow. There's tallow, shea, butter, jojoba oil, and essential oils. That's it. And it is edible. You could eat it. Mm-hmm. Probably wouldn't taste very good, but you could eat it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. If you get the orange flavored one, it might be fun. Just saying. But yeah, so I mean, think about that when you're looking at different products. Is it something that I could possibly eat?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just the more you know.
Right.
But I mean, wisdom, knowledge is power, if you choose to use it. So,
yeah.
But for your health, I think it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, we'll definitely put a link to the documentary that we're referring to. And we'll also put a couple of links for some of the articles that came out last year about clothes and the toxins, microplastics in clothes. Sheri makes a very valid point about washing without filtered water. And there probably aren't many people in this country who filter their laundry water, but there are people who have full house filters.
Well, the entire home. I mean, there are full house filters, but
yeah. If we ever built a house, we would certainly filter that way or have a well. But if you're on well water, that would definitely benefit you to not have toxic clothes. But
maybe it's groundwater, so it's kind of
So, depending on where you are. True.
Yeah, I'm just saying because I know locally we had an issue with a company that leaked. What's it called? I can't think of what the chemical is, but it got into the people's well waters. It also, people are starting to show up with cancer. So,
was it hexavalent?
You have to be. What's that?
Hexavalent chromium. That's the Aaron Brockovich story from California.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was another one, and I can't think of what it was called right now. But yeah, there was a lot of hubbub around here about.
Yeah.
And I mean, one good thing came out of it. And I found out this was, good for me, because I was like, great, there was a period of time there before I had my reverse osmosis, which removes everything. And then I have a filter that puts back some good. But our water supply treatment plant, actually, they because of that issue, put in a reverse osmosis into it. Now, what I haven't found out is, do they fluoride after that? Do they fluoridate the water after they reverse osmosis? I'm like, probably, but at least I've got it. My house is,
Well, if things go the way they
water is protected,
we won't have fluoride in any water before long. So, fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So much hope there.
Yeah, if you have a product that you're unsure of and you would like for us to research it, we gladly will. If you are much more educated than we are and have things you would like to add, please do so in the comment section.
Please do.
Yeah, we're certainly not experts. We just find information and try to give it to you. So let us know if there's something that we're missing in our podcast around these topics, because we just want information to go out to everyone. So
Yeah. We want people to be empowered, really, you know.
yeah.
So.
So yeah, leave comments in the comment section. And again, we'll have links for everything that we've discussed. And we thank you for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with everyone you know and love. And we'll see you next time. Bye.